Caitlin Clark, the queen of college basketball, has been nothing short of spectacular. She's not just any player, she's a generational talent who has taken the NCAA storm. From her first game at Iowa, it was clear she was going to be special. Caitlin's not just a scorer, although her numbers are off the charts. She's a leader, a playmaker, and someone who plays with an intensity that makes her stand out from the rest. Averaging over 27 points per game, she's already breaking records and showing the world just how good women's basketball can be. But it's not just the numbers that make Caitlin so impressive. It's how she dominates the game, with her deep three-pointers and incredible court vision. She's been compared to some of the biggest names in basketball, men or women, and for good reason. Caitlin doesn't just play basketball, she controls the flow of the game. Whether it's sinking a clutch shot or setting up her teammates, she makes everyone around her better. Her presence on the court is magnetic, drawing attention from fans and critics alike. Off the court, Caitlin has become a role model for young athletes everywhere. Her work ethic and dedication are unmatched, and her rise to the top is a testament to what hard work and focus can achieve. She's been named an All-American multiple times, and many consider her the future of women's basketball. But despite all her success, Caitlin remains grounded, constantly pushing herself to improve and lead her team to victory. However, as we'll see, even someone as talented and focused as Caitlin Clark isn't immune to controversy. But despite her brilliance on the court, Caitlin Clark recently found herself at the center of a situation that no one expected. During a crucial game, something happened that had people talking not just about her game, but about her actions. The incident in question? A heated exchange on the court that quickly spiraled into a much bigger controversy than anyone could have predicted. As emotions ran high in the middle of the game, Caitlin, known for her competitive spirit, got into a brief back and forth with an opposing player. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary in a high-stakes game, but for some reason this moment got blown out of proportion. Commentators jumped on it, and soon enough, headlines were plastered with her name, but not for her basketball skills. Instead, it was about her behavior, with people quick to judge her character based on a single moment of frustration. The story exploded, and it felt like everyone had an opinion on whether or not Caitlin had crossed the line. But here's the thing, athletes are human, and moments like this happen all the time. What made this different? Why did Caitlin get so much heat for something that, in the grand scheme of things, happens to players everywhere? As soon as the incident hit the media, reactions came pouring in from all sides. Some fans rushed to her defense, pointing out that intense moments are just part of the game, especially at the level Caitlin plays. They argued that athletes, especially those as competitive as Caitlin, are bound to show emotion on the court. But others weren't so forgiving. Critics began questioning her maturity, her sportsmanship, and even her ability to handle pressure. Social media lit up with debates, and sports analysts chimed in, each with their own take. The backlash didn't stop there. Some of the headlines were harsh, with commentators questioning whether Caitlin's competitive nature was starting to go too far. Phrases like unsportsmanlike and overhyped were thrown around, and the focus shifted from her incredible talent to this one isolated moment. It seemed unfair that a player who had given so much to the game was suddenly being picked apart for something so small. The media frenzy turned what could have been a minor issue into a major story, and Caitlin found herself under a microscope in ways she had never been before. But the criticism wasn't just about the incident, it was about her image as one of the top players in women's basketball. People began questioning if she could handle the spotlight, if the pressure was getting to her, and whether this moment would define her. It seemed that no matter what she had accomplished, one moment of frustration was all it took to overshadow everything she had worked for. It's clear that Caitlin Clark didn't deserve the level of criticism she received. Yes, she's a fierce competitor, and yes, emotions can run high in any intense game, but should one moment define her entire career? Absolutely not. What happened on the court wasn't anything new. Athletes, especially those in high-stakes environments, show emotion all the time. It's part of the game. But for some reason, Caitlin was treated differently. Maybe it's because of her high profile, or maybe it's because she's a woman in a sport where female athletes often get held to different standards. The truth is, Caitlin has been under immense pressure since she became a star. She's constantly expected to perform at the highest level, and every move she makes is under scrutiny. It's a lot to handle, especially for someone as young as she is. And the media. They're always looking for a story, something to sensationalize. In Caitlin's case, it felt like they were waiting for any small mistake to blow out of proportion. But what gets lost in all this is who Caitlin Clark really is: a hardworking, talented player who has been a positive force in women's basketball. She spent years perfecting her craft, leading her team, and inspiring young athletes. One moment shouldn't erase all that. Athletes like Caitlin face enormous pressure, and sometimes they crack. But instead of tearing them down, we should remember that they're human, and they deserve understanding, not harsh judgment. Despite all the noise surrounding the incident, Caitlin Clark handled the situation with grace. Instead of fueling the controversy, she stayed focused on what mattered most: her game. When asked about the incident, Caitlin didn't make excuses or fire back at her critics. She addressed it calmly, acknowledging the intensity of the moment, but reminding everyone that she's passionate about the sport and always strives to compete at the highest level. In one interview, she even said something like, "I play with fire because that's who I am. I want to win and I want to push myself to be the best." Her response showed maturity beyond her years. Caitlin wasn't rattled by the media storm. Instead, she used it as motivation. She didn't let one incident define her. For her, it was just another challenge to overcome, and if anything, it made her stronger. The way she handled the situation earned her even more respect from her fans and teammates. It's not easy to stay composed when the world is watching, but Caitlin showed that she has the mental toughness to rise above the drama and focus on what she does best: playing basketball. And if history is any indication, Caitlin Clark will come back from this stronger than ever. She's been through ups and downs before, and every time she's proven that she's resilient. This situation isn't the end of her story, it's just a small bump on the road to even greater success. Looking ahead, this incident will likely be just a minor footnote in Caitlin Clark's career. If anything, it could serve as a turning point that fuels her even more. Caitlin has already shown that she thrives under pressure, and with the season far from over, there's no doubt she'll be looking to prove her doubters wrong on the court. Every game from here on out is an opportunity for her to remind everyone why she's one of the best players in college basketball. There's also a bigger picture at play. Caitlin is still on a mission to bring a national championship to Iowa. That goal hasn't changed, and the incident hasn't shaken her focus. If anything, it might have made her even more determined to lead her team to victory. With major games and tournaments coming up, all eyes will be on her. Fans will be watching closely, not to see if she cracks under the pressure, but to see how she responds and rises above it. This situation might be fresh now, but soon enough, it will be her performances on the court that define her, not one moment of frustration. Caitlin Clark's future is bright, and the best is yet to come.